We are receiving a legal mind, Barrister Tamfu Richard, lawyer and member of the Cameroon Bar Association, and with him we're going to be discussing the decisions of the Yaoundé Military Court concerning the case of Mancho, BBC and other detainees of the Anglophone crisis. Barrister, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Babila.
Beginning with Mancho BBC, one of the prominent detainees of the Anglophone crisis, the Yaoundé Military Court has decided that he is guilty of terrorism, secession and revolution, but he has been acquitted of other charges.
Yes, we all know that he was being prosecuted on a series of charges. So the court has surely found that there were some charges that were not sufficiently proved, and for that reason they had to acquit him on those charges. Now, for the ones that he was found guilty, he found that he has actually committed offense, so they are now waiting on putting a sentence to him. I followed the case, and I got it that he was acquitted for not being the cause, or there were no evidence against a civil war. He had an ID card. Those are charges, some of the charges that were being acquitted. But on the other side, he was also found guilty for charges of terrorism and secessionist.
Now, when you look at the charges for which he was acquitted, civil war, killings, destruction of properties, and if we put aside the fact that the non-possession of the national identity card, all the others are connected to terrorism, for which he has been declared guilty, because a terrorist inflicts terror, kills, destroys, and causes civil wars.
No, you see, there is a legislation on terrorism. So maybe there were not sufficient evidence adduced by the Commissaire de Gouvernance, the State Council, that could warrant the court to hold him guilty for those offenses. Probably the evidence not being present, the only way they could put the other side was to hold him maybe on the offenses of terrorism. Those are offenses clearly specified under the terrorism law, so they could not have found him guilty if there were not sufficient proofs on that.
No, the case had to pull long into the night. The previous day, it pulled into the night, and it was adjourned to the next day, and after that it was scheduled for 2 p.m. It started late into the night. Yeah. What can explain?
No, we all know that this is a political trial.
And our correspondent sent information to us indicating that the president of the Yaoundé Military Court locked herself in her office, yes, saying that she was preparing for deliberations.
Yes, you see, this is a political trial, and Mancho BBC is too known. So I think that's the joker that the government has. So there is a lot of things on the ground that are happening. We all know that the trial is not fair, and the sentence is not forthcoming as the other ones. There were some that were being acquitted and discharged even. Some are acquitted and not discharged. So to him, he is acquitted for some and being held for others. And the court still finds a way to forward the case, whereas at that time they said I don't see what it causes. It causes the presiding judge to levy his sentence. So you see, the way I look at it is that the government is like trying to see how they can use Mancho BBC in trying to see how they come out of this crisis, because they know that maybe slamming a heavy sentence on him, which will come in the days ahead, may create another turn of this crisis. So they're like trying to see, should we leave it go, or how should we handle it? So we all know what is happening on the ground.
And despite calls from the civil society, from human rights defenders like Barrister Abu Bala, who is the president of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa, who went canvassing for international support in Mauritania, calling for the freedom of these persons, so that dialogue can take its course, so that normalcy can return to the two Anglophone regions of the country. Penterens and the others are sentenced. 6 others were sentenced the day before yesterday.
To me, I don't see, the government is not ready to dialogue, because I don't see why we have the solution at hand and we don't try to implement it. I don't see what is causing, or why is it taking too much time on the government to call the so-called dialogue that we are all of us singing and singing. And at the way the crisis is now, I don't even think that dialogue is still a solution, because when you hear some people they are talking about it is not, it has moved from dialogue to negotiation. You have arrested my own leaders. On the other side, you have arrested my own subject. The other ones now say, no, we now need to come to the table and negotiate. So it's not more, from the beginning, we could easily call parties to come, let's talk. But now it is as if the thing is now, everybody is now becoming autonomous, that should we come to the table, you bring out your cards as you have, I bring mine, and then let's negotiate. So the government is at the result of all this crisis because the cards were at hand. If the crisis was properly managed, we wouldn't have found ourselves where we are today. We all know how it started, but because of the poor handling of the situation by the government, who in the first place did not even recognize that there was a problem, later on came in that there was a problem. Today, we are just like in a civil war. People don't live where they used to live. People are in refugee camps, and the government is saying nothing. We all know how the Cameroonian people stood up when there was this fight in the north. We had support given to those who were in the refugee camps. The support, financial support, were even going to the military personnel. But since the Anglophone crisis, the refugees who are in Nigeria, who has uttered the word, even the good people who want to, the NGOs who want to see how they could bring their own humanitarian support, are even forbidden
from entering the country.
So I don't know if it's really unfortunate that Anglophones are treated this way, but
and just yesterday, to show how worse the situation is becoming on the ground, the senior discipline master of Government Balingo High School, Kosala, was shot dead and another student injured.
Well, that's not a solution.
We saw the situation in Bello. The village is completely deserted.
This crisis is making us lose a lot of lives. People are dying from both sides. I don't think we deserve. My cry still goes to the head of state that he inherited a Cameroon, a peaceful Cameroon, and all my prayer is that he should also leave the country in a peaceful way. People are losing their lives. The army are losing people. People are not comfortable. Business is down. Activities are down. Students are not safe. That's the principal who was performing his duty. Taken like that.
And when we look at all the measures that have been taken by government, even the decisions of the military court regarding the case of these Anglophone detainees, many will say that it's like adding salt to the wound.
Yes, I joined that say because the president started by releasing some. He said all those who were arrested within that Anglophone crisis should be released. Some were released, some were held. Now, those who are still undergoing trial, slamming them again, jail sentences of 10, 12, 13. It won't be an easy thing for their families to accept or their sympathizers to accept. Mancho BBC on the other side is standing trial to even go as far as even the death penalty. Do you think that people who are behind him would like to accept such verdicts? Okay, the sentences are being meted. Has the crisis stopped? No. So I think the solution should be elsewhere. These people should be released. The head of state take his responsibility as the head of state. I want to put an end. Release everybody. Call for the dialogue that we are singing, and let's see whether we can have a way forward.
Release everybody?
Everybody, because
including H.E Ayuk Tabe and his collaborators?
If we have been able to negotiate with more terrorists than them, Boko Haram terrorists, we have negotiated, we have given money, we have dialogue with them. So I don't think Ayuk Tabe is a problem. They can bring him, he can be called, the president can invite him, that okay, you are the head behind all this, if the thing is the one. We want to put a stop. What do you want when everybody is outside? Listening from him head of state as well tells us, okay, this is how we think we can handle the issue.
But since they were arrested in the Federal Republic of Nigeria and brought back into the country, and the Minister of Communication and Government spokesperson H.E Bakari said that they're in the hands of the judiciary and that they were going to face the law, nothing is being said about them. They're not even, people are not given access to meet them, their families and even lawyers went there to meet them.
There is something still battering my mind. Among one of the people who were arrested, like Barrister Nalowabi, that is my promotion mate in the Nigerian law school. Ever since this arrest happened, we have not heard about any of them. We are told that they are in good state and within the Cameroon territory. I don't see why there's not that possibility of presenting them to the public is still a problem. You said you have arrested them, handcuff them and present them to the public. So to me, I don't even want to bother my mind so much that these people are alive. So if they are, let them present them, or let the government give access to lawyers to even talk to them. So I don't want to bother my mind so much on whether they are there, because I know I've not seen them. Nobody has heard from them. So why do we still make as if they are existing?